Carolyn Dube here. What's inspiring me today? Well, a Gelli print inspired my play today. Now, the print, you can actually see me make the print from beginning to end in a video I had just a few days ago. I'll have a link down below for you in the video description so that you can go and check that out whenever you want. But with this print, I had areas of color. And I decided to add a little more interest or depth or detail, whatever you want to call it, but a little something more to it. Usually I bring in a whole big bright rainbow and I go with big bold. And I have to say, for some reason today, I was feeling like going with something more subtle, subdued, peaceful. Not sure what's going on or why, but it's what I decided to make today. I followed what the muse was telling me and I created my own sort of artful pattern paper. So enough of my talking, let's take a look. So here's the paper that I made while Gelli printing that's going to be the base for my pattern paper. And I want this to have a very artsy feel, and I'm actually going to follow the paint colors that are on this paper. So I'm going to take part of my connected eye stencil, and I'm using some heavy body white paint, and I'm just stenciling around, ballparking, because I can see through the stencil, about where the blue is, so that that gives me some guidelines of where to go. But oh no, the stencil doesn't cover all the area that I want it to. Is it the end of the world? The answer is no. I'm just going to pick up the stencil and I'm going to slide it over and line it back up and continue on. This pattern will line up so that I can then go and add some white paint through it to fill in the rest of the area on the blue. So I can actually fill any amount of space that I want to with this stencil. It's just a matter of stenciling and then sliding it over. Stencil and slide it over. I am actually going to stop right here at the edge of the paper because it's kind of silly to go beyond the edge of the paper when stenciling. Well, actually though, I really like my background paper too. But anyway, for right now, I'm just going to stay on the paper. Following the same kind of procedure, I grabbed another one of my stencils called Iron Grate Layer Me. And this is another one of my layering stencils. The patterns were created to layer on top of each other so that I could get a whole lot of complexity. But I will say that these patterns also coordinate nicely when they're not layered. So what I can do is create 4 different pattern looks here with 2 different stencils. And I'm really a big fan of versatility and options. Having 2 different patterns on one stencil means if I grab that stencil, I've got patterns that coordinate, that look similar, but they aren't identical. And that's what I wanted to do here. In both of these patterns, I can fill in an area, but if I need it to be larger, all I need to do is slide that stencil down and I can make it cover whatever space I want it to. And at this point, as I put the last pattern on here for my 4, I debated leaving it just the way it was because I really liked how that looked. But if you've seen many of my videos, you know how I am about white space, and this is white paint, and yeah, I'm going to have to add some color to it. So what I'm doing is bringing in the coordinating pattern for this one from Iron Grate, and you can see how I lined it up. I get there you can see the green paint. When it's over the white paint or whatever I've painted, then I know I've got it lined up. So I eyeball it, I line it up, and then I'm going to bring in another color. I'm actually bringing in a soft color, so this is going to be something that's very subtle. And if you're surprised I'm doing something subtle, I'll be honest, me too, because usually I like the really bold, bright, and the subtleness of these, I'm really kind of falling in love. So when you're lining up the patterns, how do you know when you've got them one on top of the other? Well, when I've got all white under there, I know I've got it lined up. If I slide it, you can see how I saw the pattern under there, and that wasn't lined up. So right now I've got it lined up, and I can bring in another color. This time I'm going to bring in a little bit darker look than what I had on the last one. And I'm going to smear it around. Of course, when using a sponge with a stencil, you should go in an up and down motion for the crispest look, but I tend to go side to side because I'm impatient. Well, now I'm going to do connected eyes again, only this time I'm going to layer the same pattern on itself, but with a little twist. So here it is perfectly aligned. I'm going to shift it over a little bit, and I'm going to bring in some yellow paint. By shifting it over, I'm going to create a little different look than if I had just gone perfectly on top of it. Now these stencils can all be found over at Stencil Girl Products along with all my other designs. And if you're enjoying seeing this video with stenciling in it, I've got lots and lots of other videos with stenciling. If you subscribe to my YouTube channel, you'll know when I have a new video out, or you can pop over to my channel and check out all the other videos that I've got. I've got over 200 plus videos waiting over there. And of course, if you'd like to know more of what I'm up to, you're having fun with this, I'd love it if you joined my newsletter. It's free and you get downloadable goodies or little treats inside each and every newsletter. And here comes the oops. Now, when I lined this up before, I slid it over a little bit for the look, but I was so busy having fun, I totally forgot and started doing it with it right on top. Oops, well, that's just an outstanding opportunity presenting suddenly, and we just call it an interesting layer. All I had to do to fix it was slide the stencil over a little bit, and then it kind of slipped and wiggled around a little bit, and guess what? Nobody notices. It adds to the interest of the pattern, and I'm just keeping it loose and fun. Now for this corner, I did not want to make it just like all the others. I wanted this one to kind of fade into the background a little bit more than it was. So when I put this pattern on top of it, it's actually going to obliterate the white that was there, because this is actually going to cover over the entire amount that was there. And that way, most of the white gets pushed to the back, and I get to soften up that corner. It makes it different than the other three, and I was really looking for that variety on this. So with these stencils, as you play around with the different patterns and how they behave with each other, depending on which one you layer first or what colors you use, you can get all sorts of different looks. Well, I flipped that paper around, and now I'm going to add some scribbled journaling with a fine liner and some white ink. And with that, I'm going to call this piece of paper complete. Well, thanks for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you gave a thumbs up. Thanks for being a part of this colorful journey.